Hi, my name is Greg from Pringles, and I'm here to make a little video for you of how to maintain your Pringle PowerVac APV. So we're going to start off with the engine here. With the engine, we tried to make it easy to drain the oil and change the oil. Right here you've got your oil filter, so that's easy to get to. And then you got your oil drain valve, and there's a hose that runs down underneath the truck. I don't know if you can get a good video of the drain valve. You'll see me pointing at it right here. Okay, here's your drain valve. It's just a little open and close valve. Makes it real easy to drain the oil. It's going to run out the hose and down underneath the truck, so it'll be easy to drain it out there. Now, with your belts, when you're adjusting belts, you got your 5 belts for the engine here. To adjust those belts, we have 2 adjusters. Now, the way this works, we have the 4 bolts. You'll find 1 here, 1 over here, and 2 on the back side. You loosen those 4 bolts, and then these are your adjusters. Now, to adjust it, you can adjust this thing. You basically turn these in, and it pulls the engine back towards you. Now, what happens is, the reason we have 2 adjusters instead of 1 is the engine can start to, adjust like this. And then your belts, you'll find these belts are really tight, and these aren't very tight at all because the engine's cocked a little bit. So what you do is you pull back on this one, and then this one here, once you get it to the tightness you want, and then run this one the other way, and it actually pushes the engine that way and then straightens out your engine. So basically, this one you would tighten down, and this one you would loosen up, which pushes the engine back in and gets your engine nice and straight so that you get perfect tension between this belt and this belt. Because a lot of times you'll find, once you tighten it down, if you don't do that, these belts will be tight and these belts will be loose. Okay, so that's why we have the 2 adjusters. And once you get it to the tightness that you want to tighten down all 4 bolts that bolt the engine to the frame. Okay, so all 4 of these bolts. All right. Now, changing the engine oil is something that you'll do about every 200 hours. That's per Kubota's recommendation. Now, a lot of people ask, is synthetic oil a better way to go? Kubota doesn't really give you guidelines on that, it's my understanding, but it's my understanding that synthetic oil is a lot better to go with anyway. It basically breaks down at a higher temperature, lasts longer, all those things. So I would go, I don't think that means you can run it to a longer number of hours, but the oil will be better throughout the hours that you do use it. So now with your fluid coupler, come over here, I don't know if you can see that a little better from there. This is your fluid coupler, okay? The fluid coupler is full of fluid. Now, the fluid coupler, it has to have the fluid changed about every, I want to say 1,000 hours. And with the fluid coupler, to change it, you'll see there's a plug here, and there's a plug on the other side. But you can all you really need is 1 plug. Basically, take that plug out, and then you want to turn this until you get to the bottom and it'll drain all the fluid out. Now, when you go to fill it back up, and there's some instructions that'll come with your truck on how to do this, but I just thought in this video I would show you. You'll see some numbers and an X here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an X. Now that X that you see right here, you want that pointing straight up and down. When that X is pointing straight up and down, when you fill it right here, that'll fill it up to the level that you want it to be at. And we want it at full level, so that it actually, you get as much horsepower and torque out of your fluid coupler as possible. The less slip you get out of your fluid coupler, which is what we're shooting for, the less heat it builds up, and the longer it's going to last you. And therefore your oil won't break down as soon, and it'll last better. So just make sure the X is up, fill it till it starts to flow out this hole, and then put your plug back in. Make sure you use either pipe dope or thread tape, and that should take care of that. But do that about every 1,000 hours. So it's going to last a while before you ever have to worry about filling that thing. Okay, so there's 3 grease fittings on this truck. I'm going to show you. Well, that's right, they don't have it on there anymore. So there's 2 grease fittings on this truck. They got rid of one of them. So we're gonna walk around to the other side. So you will see two grease fittings. If you can bring the camera in here, you're going to see one straight in front of my finger there on the one bearing, and then you're going to see another one up by the fan housing on the other bearing. It's just those two grease fittings. That's it. You want to do those about every 50 hours. Grease those bearings. You know, some people will say 2 weeks, but this thing has an hour meter on it, and I'll show you. Has an hour meter right here. So just use that hour meter every 50 hours. Go ahead and grease those bearings. There's just two of them. Super simple, and your bearings will last you a long time. Now, you've got your compressor. You're going to adjust that just like you will the engine. It's the exact same thing. You got 4 bolts that hold the compressor down to the frame, and then you've got 2 adjusters. I don't know if you can see those on here, but they're just like the engine. You can get wrenches down here. It's really not that bad, but it's hard to get a camera in there. But there's 2 adjusters on it, just like the engine has. Loosen the 4 bolts that bolt to the frame, and then you can adjust those in and out. And one thing I wanted to tell you too, when you go to loosen up the bolts that hold the compressor down to the frame, loosen them up a little bit, just until you feel the washers start to loosen up. Once the washers can spin, you've backed it out far enough. Don't back them way out, because if you back them way out, then it puts more tension on the bolt and you could snap the bolt. So back them out just a little bit till the washer can spin, till the washer's free, then you know it's loose, and then you can go ahead and start adjusting it. Okay. Your oil filter right here, just like the engine, we've got a drain. You'll see on the engine, this one's easier to see, but we've got this exact same drain on the engine as you see here. This hose runs down underneath the truck. Easily change the fluid in this thing. So make sure you change the filter, the oil, and we've been telling people to change them about every other time you change the oil in the Kubota. You want to change the oil in your compressor. In this compartment, it definitely gets hotter than our old Pringle trucks. So we're just trying to make sure that that oil doesn't break down any faster. So, yeah, well, it's going to. So that's why we're having you change the oil more often than you would have in your old Pringle trucks or your Cadillacs or your Biltwells or any of those. Those didn't have engines in there with them, so they didn't get as hot. That's one of the preventative maintenance things that we're doing with these trucks. To check your oil, it's right here. Just a little dipstick. On the old ones, you had to pull on it real hard. These you actually unscrew. But check that regularly. I'm not saying you have to do it every day, but check it like once every week or so. And it doesn't hurt anything. It's quick, easy, and can help to keep your truck running for many years to come with less downtime. So that's pretty much it. I'm sure if you watch this and you have questions,